So in case you were not here for this lecture on Wednesday, the 29th, here it is. We are talking about law. Oh, I need to add an extra slide for prepping your lecture notes. All right, so criminal law. There's really two types of laws we have in the US, criminal and civil. So what are the key points of criminal law? So this is when it comes into question laws passed by legislature. So this is like what most people think going to court is. Like you committed a crime, the police caught you, and the state is pressing charges. So prosecuted by the government, it is the state that is like saying they're the ones hiring the prosecutor, saying they committed this crime, they need to basically pay for it. And in criminal law, guilt must be proven beyond reasonable doubt. So you can't have any doubts that this person did not commit the crime. Most famous law became big news was the OJ case. They found that there was reasonable doubt that he did not commit the murders. That is why he was not found guilty. Again, and all 12 jurors in this have to agree. None of the jurors can have any doubt that this person committed the crime. We don't want to be sending people to jail for crimes they didn't actually commit. So civil law is a little different. Civil law is usually involving money. So disputes between private parties or a private party and the government. So it could be between two friends, or it could be a person suing the government for something that the government did wrong, or like a person suing a hospital for malpractice, something like that. So normally it's involving property or injuries. So if you get in a car accident, you'll probably go to like civil case if you need to pursue that for damages or for having the other person pay for your medical bills if they are refusing to. Seeking financial compensation, and this one doesn't have as much that you need to prove, nearly or needs merely a preponderance of evidence. So overwhelming evidence, there can still be some reasonable doubt, but it's just easier to prove civil law than criminal. You don't need to have all the jurors agree in civil law. So again, thinking back to the OJ case, in criminal law, he was found not guilty. They say he did not kill his wife, former wife, and her lover. But in civil law, he actually was found guilty of murder. That doesn't mean he got sent to jail. That meant he was liable for the damages. So he had to pay money to the families of the people killed. So that's just a difference. So what are you going to hear in court? So there's the defendant, the person who is accused of the crime. They hire a defense attorney to protect them, essentially. Prosecutors, they're going to be the ones, especially in criminal law, working for the government. So they're the ones saying this person committed the crime. In civil law, they're like the other person who is suing, and then the person being sued is the defendant. So the defense tries to counter all the evidence being said. The plaintiff is the person bringing the case. So in criminal law, again, it's the state bringing the case, kind of like you can think of it as like the police are bringing the case against the person who committed a crime. In civil law, it's like the person who was injured is the plaintiff, the person who did the injuring would be like the defendant. Just an example. Jurors. So this is going to be one of your duties as a citizen. Key points: in criminal cases, there are 12 jurors, but then there's also two alternates who have to be there and hear all the things in case something happens to one of the jurors. So you could potentially sit on a case and hear all the arguments, and then you don't even get a vote on it. In civil cases, it is 8 jurors. So they're going to be considering evidence. They're going to deliberate, meaning they're going to talk about it and deliver the verdict. In a criminal case, it does have to be unanimous. So if not everyone can agree guilty or not guilty, it'll be like a mistrial, and they'll kind of do it over again. And in civil cases, it is a 3/4 verdict. So out of the 8, how many does that mean? 6. Witnesses. Witnesses define an individual who gives evidence or testimony in a criminal or civil case. They will be cross-examined, meaning both lawyers, the plaintiff and the defense, attorney get to ask them questions. It can't just be your lawyer who's asking them questions. Their memory will be questioned, so they'll try to put doubt that this person is not remembering things correctly. And they do testify under oath, meaning if you do lie, that is perjury, that is a crime. All right, so the Supreme Court of the United States, they are the highest court in the US. How many justices serve on this court? There are 9, as you hopefully learned the other day. Who nominates them? So the Supreme Court is not really a democratically elected office. They serve for life, and the president nominates them, but the Senate has to approve it. So if you can remember back to like Obama, it was right before he was going to leave office. He got the chance to nominate someone, but it was a Republican controlled Senate. So they just refused to allow anyone that he wanted. Kind of a weird loophole that they found. Powers of the Supreme Court, SCOTUS, Supreme Court of the United States, court of last resort. So if you lose in the Supreme Court, you can't appeal to any other court. It's just that is the end of the road. Judicial review is basically saying the Supreme Court has the opportunity to review laws that Congress passes to determine if they follow the Constitution. Again, the Constitution is like the backbone of our laws. If it violates the Constitution, it is not constitutional. It can't be a law, essentially. And then key concepts. Jurisprudence is going to be the theory or the philosophy of law. Judicial activism, belief that the court has the right to an obligation to overturn bad precedents and promote socially desirable goals. So you see that with people protesting. What was a really big one that came up recently? Abortion, right? The Supreme Court overturned their previous ruling on abortion. Now, and people were fighting for that for years. Now people on the other side are fighting for them to kind of turn it back again. And then there's 2 kind of views of the Constitution. There's the original intent, belief that the Constitution ought to be given original public meaning that it would have had at the time it became law. So thinking back to the 1700s and trying to still keep our country according to those kind of standards. Or there's living Constitution, belief that the Constitution has meaning beyond the original text, not just, it's like reading between the lines, and is an evolving document that changes over time. So then you do have an exit ticket. So please remember to do that and have a great day.